Okay, it is now live. Pradesh, do you know whether Vani will join or not? Okay,
She
it is
should
now.
join.
Sorry, I cannot hear you clearly.
I think she will join.
Okay.
She was in office, so I'm assuming she will join today.
Hey, folks.
Hi, Dodi. I think we can get started. Let me share my screen. Here's my screen.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks. Before we jump into the agenda, I would like to share that there is upcoming public holidays in China. So so for some review works, we may and do that after the public holidays. And today, Patrick couldn't join this meeting due to his already on vacation. Yeah, that's the information I would like to share first. Okay, then let's get to the agenda. So today we have several topics. I think the first two topics are important, and we would like to address those topics as soon as possible, so that after public holidays, that we can continue the work. Okay, the first one is the proposal of trust policy 2.0. The main reason is that we will consider two major changes for trust policies. So that we think it would be better that we can bump up the trust policy versions since it is different from trust policy 1.0. The first one is that we are considering adding new parameters for timestamping verification. Another one is a new issue that was identified recently that Patrick created this issue. So maybe we can discuss one by one. So for the first one, add the new parameters for timestamping. Actually, Patrick did share this last week in the community meeting, but at that time, Pradesh, you was on vacation. So I think I opened this one here. Not this one.
Yeah, I have left some comments on the PR for this.
Yeah. Um, Shall we go to your comments directly, or yeah, we can just briefly talk about it. Actually, the page I'm showing is what are the major changes. The first part is we would like to introduce this parameter, this section, and it includes two parameters. One is the level to control whether timestamping verification will be enabled or disabled. Another one is the parameter for user to relax the tracking of the timestamp certificate expiry. Um, I think maybe we can jump to your comments, Pritesh.
Like, let's go one by one. We added in timestamping verification, we added two parameters. One is level, another one is relax something.
Yes.
What's the purpose of this new one? From correct me, like I will just understand. I will reiterate my understanding for timestamping. Timestamping is a feature which allows you to extend the expiry of the signed artifact beyond the signing certificates, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so we're on the same page. So the first one is level, which why do we need that?
Um, the first one of the reason is that we don't have this support in previous version, right?
Yes. No, I'm
So
asking why do we
yeah.
need level like rely like audit, strict, or one? I don't even remember what were the levels. Enforce, I think they were okay. Let me check that. Specifications. I'm trying to get the definition of levels. So we had four: strict, permissive, audit, and skip. Why do we need that for timestamping? Timestamp verification, basically.
Um, the first is that we think the timestamping verification and also the signature verification, they are different trust. So they should not be mixed together.
Let me reiterate that. Timestamping allows you to extend expiry of the signature beyond the signing certificate, right?
Yeah.
So it's part of signature verification. It's not a separate feature. For example, if I don't have timestamps, if I have a signature which is not timestamped, that signature will expire when signing certificate expires. If I have a timestamp, then it might be valid for longer time. So
Uh,
timestamping is extension of signature verification. Or it's actually a part of signature verification feature called expiry.
yeah, we have that expiry uh, that aspect for from a signature verification point of view. Yeah, but under this expiry, actually there are additional configurations that requires for from the timestamping point of view because uh, there are other scenarios. For example, uh, when using the for example the signing authority, right? It's a different way. So it's a different from trust source point of view.
Yes, that's covered as part of trust store. We will have different trust store for TSA, CA, and signing authority.
Yeah.
So trust is defined from trust store. We're talking about the new timestamp verification field which we are adding. So I completely agree with need a different trust store for this, and I think we already have a provision for that in current trust policy to add TSA as a trust store type.
Let me find the table. Um, yes, here.
Yes, so expiry is already there. So why do we need new timestamp verification field?
But yeah, for this expiry, as I just said, it's it depends on different trust source, the type of the uh, I mean the trust source, like say signing authority, right? And also there are uh, additional parameter that required for the for example for the timestamping itself.
So yes, implementation differs, but concept-wise, it's same. How we implement expiry in signing authority or normal other trust or use case, yes, implementation differs.
Uh,
And user perspective, expiry is expiry. It's like best use by date for an artifact. Eh, They don't care, users don't really care about how you technically implemented them, but definition-wise, still same throughout all the trust stores.
and uh, yeah, I think the expiry and also yeah maybe I think for the expiry and also authentic timestamp. Um, let me check this
So
sentence.
these are concepts, not the actual filled in, but like I forgot, not a strict auditor script. Authenticity and these are like, I think we are not actually. Can you scroll up a bit to the table? To the table. Oh yes, here is validation. Okay, expiry and authentic timestamp. Yeah. The expiry is based on authentic timestamp. No, so expiry. Wait.
Expiry is for the it's different, I think.
Can we just combine it? Because right now expiry is so.
It's different. So expiry is for the signature expiry, but for the authentic timestamp is for the certificate expiry. So they are different.
I mean, your expiry cannot be beyond authentic timestamp expiry, right? So expiry is capped by other field anyway.
It's different. The expiry here does not mean that it's about the certificate expiry. It's about that there's a additional claim in the signing payload saying that this artifact will expire on a certain day.
Yes,
So
but for
so it's not
example,
related to the signature and also the certificate. It's not related.
yes, but when the signing type, when scheme is CA, then this expiry has to be lower than your authentic timestamp expiry. Because if signature, if yeah, I do see that it's capped anyway by that.
By the way, the reason why we need a additional level for the timestamp verification is that the timestamping trust source is a different source from the original signing source. So, so it's better to have a different switch for the timestamp verification. Of course, we can integrate that into the authentic timestamp, but that will require we to introduce a new level. But we don't want to mix them up, so that's why we have a new section called timestamp verification, and I have the level for strict and log and skip.
What's the use of that? Let me ask you that. What's the use
So
of the two levels?
So, for example, what if someone want to verify a signature, but they don't want to run any time stamping stuffs?
Why will they
So
do
you
that?
may
Like if you don't want to do it, you can just don't add anything in trust time TSA trust store. Then you don't
yes.
trust anything.
Yes. So in the end, because we don't add any TSA certificate in the TSA store, so the verification will fail anyway. However, notation will still check all the timestamps as well as checking their revocation status, and it will cost more time to verify a signature. So it's just for performance considerations.
We can do it other way around, right? We can read the trust policy and then do the signature verification. In that way, it won't have any impact. What is the
So it's
Mhm.
different. Although the results are the same, but the process are different. So if we completely turn off the timestamp verification, so notation can anyway skip the timestamp verification.
Yeah.
But if we make it default to be on, and we don't specify any TSA certificate in TSA store, then it will still check any available timestamping signatures and verify them, and also checking the revocation status, sending out outgoing requests. Although in the end it will fail because the trust root is not trusted, because there's no certificate in the TSA store.
Yes, but we don't need to go there. When you know there is no trust root there for TSA, you don't need to even look at the signature, right? That's an implementation detail which we can control. And if user hasn't set any TSA root, which means they don't care about timestamping.
So that's actually a sorry. So that's actually a implicit switch. So you
And
are
it
referring
is right
that
now.
empty TSA store means skip. Is that right?
No, it's like don't look into it. I mean, we won't even. So, for example, I will give you a similar example. If I don't have any TSA configured, we shouldn't even download a signature and verify it. So, no, if we don't have any trust store configured right now, we shouldn't even look at registry and download do anything because there's no trust store configured. I'm just driving an analogy from current product to future to the next feature. Right now, if we don't have any trust store setup, we shouldn't even pull, we shouldn't even contact registry to get the signatures because since there is no trust store, we cannot do anything, right? Similarly, when you don't have a TSA configured, you shouldn't even look into timestamp signatures because there's nothing to do there.
Um, I uh, I will take a step back. So you mentioned that if there's no trust store configured for a certain repository or scope, I think we still can verify them.
We
Uh,
cannot use of the signatures. There's no trust store. You cannot
based
trust anything.
based on the configurations. So you can scroll up to the table we have. Um, it's not the usage table. It's the I mean, it's not level table. It's the transport configuration table for I think there's another table there.
Mm.
No.
I think there's another table saying 5 different verifications, and we just showed them us before. Oh, yes, this one. So for this one, so basically, trust store is for the authenticity. So a uh, if a scope is configured at the level of audit, so even if the trust store is not configured, we still can verify it, right? Because we checked the integrity. Yes, we checked. It should pass. Authentication will always fail, but it's okay. We log it, right?
Yeah.
So even if the trust store is not configured, we still can verify it according to its verification level.
Yeah, I think, but I'm not sure what you will verify if it's not configured and how it actually works.
But but at least we allow it, and there's a certain level called audit allows it.
Do we actually allow it in our product right now? Yes, the specification does says that if we don't configure any trust store, we allow signature verification.
I'm not sure about the implementation, but from the spec of view, it allows.
Can you scroll back? Can you scroll up? Let me just go back to the specifications. I think there are conflicting specifications here because I was trying to see where do we define trust store. So trust store is a required property, and it says, okay, so it has to have at least one value as per the specification. So required property at least have one. So it says the required property specifies a set of one or more named trust stores. So it should have at least one value.
Yes, but it does not say that in that trust store there must be at least one certificate, right?
That's true. That's true.
So let's back to the timestamp
And the-
verification.
Yes,
So
let's go.
basically, you are proposing that if if the user does not specify any TSA store in the trust policy, it is implied to have something like the level to be skipped. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, you don't need to
Yes.
look at signatures because we don't trust any TSA. So even if you look at the signature, it doesn't help.
Uh, I think we can analyze that kind of switch carefully, but can you just leave a comment so that we can analyze later of the meeting?
Yes, I did left a couple of comments on the PR. Like in my opinion, it's like we shouldn't complicate trust policy unless we have to do it. The more terminologies or more fields we add in trust policy, it is going to make it complicated.
Yeah, I agree with that. Uh, yeah, Yi, can you also record that in the meeting notes?
Yeah, let me find um the comments that Pritesh, you mentioned you already comment.
Yeah, I might not be similar comment, but I did add some comments around 2 hours back. Yeah,
Is
the
it
last one. Yeah, yes, this one.
so this is what you just yeah, what Shui just asked, right? Can this be governed by
It's not completely right. So, uh, so basically, previous proposal is that if the TSA trust store is not configured, so basically there's no entry for TSA store, then it means the level is skipped. Otherwise, the level is strict. So that means we don't need a field called level.
I'm saying is I think we already have things like field for this. For example, I mean technically you are saying it's right. But if let's say if authentic timestamp is logged, even though even the certificate is expired, we will allow it to verification with logged method, right? We will log it and verification will be successful. Doesn't make sense?
Yes, and also we also have discussed another scenario that so what if the user want to enable I mean strict force verify the authentic that's called the sign enable the authentic timestamp for the signing authority, but they want to turn off the TSA. Um, but it's also possible because you are suggesting that uh, not configuring any TSA means turn off uh, the TSA verification.
So for signing authority, I think in couple of meetings back, we decided we won't support timestamping as a feature because signing service is acting as
Yeah.
author source of time since till when the signature will be valid. So timestamping was only for signing a scheme of type CA. Also, the levels can be part of authentic timestamp field, which we already have right now in signature verification level. But yes, there's a good use case of skip, which we can talk about. Even skip can be possible for in authentic timestamp. We can configure this as skip.
Uh, I remember authentic timestamp. We discussed. I mean, Shui and Patrick. We discussed this previously offline for why we will not want to use authentic timestamp. Um, yeah, but seems from the change, I mean the spec update. Um, so if we let's say if we use this validations authentic timestamp, so we can skip it, enforce and locked. So by default, it will be enforced. That means we need to check the timestamp, right? And also, as we just discussed, and I'm also going to comment that if user does not configure the TSA type of trustor, right? It means the timestamp in check or the
Timestamping only comes to the picture once your signing certificate is expired. If signing certificate is not expired, we won't even look at timestamp signature because the purpose of timestamping is to extend the validity of signature beyond the certificate validity.
Yes, that's true. So if it expires and if TSA type of trust store is configured,
Then we will check for it.
then we will check for it. But it's kind of I mean overlapping with this validation, right? Because this validation, this authentic timestamp can also be configured skip. That means what does that mean? If authentic timestamp is configured skipped, it means that
We won't do
uh,
anything. We won't even check the signature.
even TSA type of store is
And
configured.
yes. It's the only case it's marked as skip is when you don't want to do any signature verification.
You mean don't want to do any timestamping signature verification,
No,
right?
so if you see a skip is marked only in the case when all other things are marked as skipped. So I do see a gap here. Usually you don't want it marked timestamp skip. Basically, you don't want to override strict with time. Actually, you can. Yeah, nothing is stopping you. So when you mark it as skip, we won't even look at timestamp signature, which means we will make you will have to make sure that your signing certificate expiry is long enough for your signature verification to pass. Skip, think of skip as timestamp timestamp signature is not present. We won't even look at that. We won't even care about it.
Mm. Okay, so this is I think this is the one who makes the call, right? Whether
Yes.
the timestamping will be checked or not.
Yes.
And by default, it is enforced. Then we will check whether TSA type store is configured. If not, it also means it will skip the timestamping signature
So
checking. Yeah.
at the time of verification, if signing certificate is expired and you don't have any timestamp signature, and if your marked as trust policy is strict, then yes, it will fail the verification. Which is the current scenario. That's how it works right now. Since we don't support timestamping, so any
Let
signature
me, yeah.
and if the certificate expired time of verification, we just fail the signature verification.
Okay. I think let me add it in the comment, and yeah, we can work on the comment together. So if sign certificate expires, right? Then uh, this is the right thing. Yeah. Checked. If it is skipped, then uh, uh, it means that the user do not want to user want to skip the timestamping verification. So that means the verification will succeed, right?
No, it shouldn't.
Shouldn't?
Nope, it shouldn't. Because signature is not valid. So there is no real world use case where you want to make it skip if signing certificate is valid. So if signing certificate expired. So if signing certificate has expired, you will have to check for timestamping. If you don't, it will fail. But yes, so you have a good point. I'm not sure whether do we really want to make the signature verification pass if timestamp is skipped? I doubt we don't shouldn't.
Then
It would be a
point is, Pritesh, then the point is, why do we need skipped, right?
yeah. I don't think so. We need skip for this. That's what I'm debating. Like,
Hmm.
dude, if you skip it, then it silently passes. Logged would be the best one. Like, I think we should add a constraint that it cannot be skipped. Actually, so you are saying, I mean, it's similar to not having timestamp signature at all, right?
Yeah.
The market is logged. Why do we want to skip it? I'm still. I think what would be helpful is if we document the use case and try to see how it fits the current model. That would be helpful. If we can write a bullet points for all the use cases we have right now, the real world use cases, which users like,
But if you tell skip is like timestamp don't exist, then it should pass the verification, right?
yes,
Not
but
skipping it, right? That's what it
oh,
means.
if timestamp doesn't exist and certificate has expired, signature verification should fail.
Yeah, it should fail. So you can just complete your typing. So yeah.
So
So if it's freeze, what will happen?
yeah, this is what we just discussed. From protection point of view, it should filled with logged, not skipped.
It will fail. So here skip means the level is set to skips, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I know what skip means for authentic timestamp validation.
It will skip the timestamp validation entirely.
Even if you have the timestamp signature, it will skip it.
Yes, it's skipped.
Makes
Actually,
sense.
because the authentic timestamp means to checking the expiry of the certificate expiry. So that means skipping the authentic timestamp means skipping checking the expiry of the certificate. I mean, the certificate means refers to the signing certificate.
What
So
happens
basically,
now?
so basically, the note before and the note after is not checked if the authentic timestamp is skipped.
Do we really want that?
I don't know, but the original trust policy allows that.
So think about this. Let's completely ignore timestamp. What if I right now mark signing authenticity at skip?
So if the certificate is expired, then we still pass it.
Which is bad. I mean,
Yes, that's why we have levels. Although I'm not 100% sure why we have those levels because it is initiated by mailing. Maybe next time we can have mailing on a call to clarify them.
yeah, I can ask me to join the next one. Yeah, like it makes sense for every other field, but for authentic timestamp, that's confusing. Yeah. And just
So
to
for
confirm, our current implementation, if you mark authentic timestamp at skip, does it skips the certificate validity check right now? I don't think so, right? Let me confirm that.
yeah, let me just comment. Need to confirm current implementation, and we would like to where we can link to verification. This is but need uh so I think this is the pending. This will be a pending question that we need to address later. Another thing we talk about is that if the type of if the TSA type of trust store does not exist, that means timestamping verification will be skipped. I think we need first to align that whether we should if sign certificate expires, whether the signature verification should fail, right? And whether we should provide the option that the user can skip the validation.
I think looks like that was the purpose. Looking at the implementation, it looks like we wanted to allow that.
So Pradesh, you mean you just checked if it is skipped the current implementation will skip. The current implementation allows the signature verification can be successful, right?
Yeah, but we should test it. No, I'm just looking at the implementation. It doesn't allow it right now, but we should test, like, we should actually test
Yeah.
by changing trust policy and notation.
Okay, so if it is skipped, we need to confirm the current implementation, and we would like to fail signature verification, right? But we need to check with meaning about the reason with this skip level, as he is the original author. Another thing we talk about is if the TSA type of trustor does not exist, and the authentic timestamp level is by default enforced.
It should be not is not by default false enforced. It's not skipped. So even if it's locked, it's not strict, then we still need to check the timestamp. So if you go back to the previous comments in the PR, I have replied previous comments, so you can just copy and paste to the meeting notes. You probably need to refresh.
But this is replied to the new parameter section, right? But the question is, do we need this section?
We still need that section because otherwise we cannot because we need a section for the expiry relaxed field. Otherwise, we need to put that field to another place.
Let's talk about that also. What's the purpose of expand? Sorry, if we are done with this, we can move to the next field.
I think this let's finish this one first. So if not configuring any TSA trust store, the level should be skip. what does the skip mean? I think it is also related to the first comment, right?
I will put it like this. If you don't have configured a if you don't have any timestamp TSA store type configured, even if you do the signature, even if you do a timestamp verification, you won't gain anything out of it because the verifier doesn't trust any timestamps authority, right?
Yeah,
So the actual signature validity is restricted to the certificate validity because verifier doesn't trust any timestamp. So
yeah,
actually, you don't even need to go and look into the timestamp signature.
yeah. But that means, yeah, from I think your explanation is okay. And from the signature verification point of view, if the signed certificate expires and the TSA store does not exist or not configured, so the signature verification will fail, right?
Yes.
Because user does not trust any source of the TSA and the certificate expires. Uh,
Yeah.
let me copy the first. Um,
Also, even if customer wants to have skip explicitly, which we still need to talk about, trust policy still allows you to set timestamp authority to skip. So we can talk about the actual definition there, even if we want to support skipping of timestamp signature.
Yeah, let me finish this one first. That in the community that not configure any trust store. So this what does this mean? Should we
That's a master call. It's if and only if.
okay. If and only if level to be skipped so that we don't need to introduce the field level. Okay, so this is according to the this is for if we want to introduce the timestamping verification, so we can there's another way for the level skip, so we may not need to introduce the level. Okay, I think this is clear. Then we will talk about whether we need this new timestamp verification parameter, right? As Pritesh mentioned, the reason behind the expiry relaxed this parameter.
Yeah. So for the level, so originally we have a name. It's not called level, but called enabled. So initially it's designed as a Boolean value. So yeah. Okay. So the next question is about why we have the expiry relaxed, right, Pratish?
Yes.
So by default, that is the timestamp certificate associated with the timestamp signature can also expire. So there's a question. So what if the 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 timestamp certificate itself expires? So it's a very interesting question. So um obviously we can have another timestamp, the timestamp, but apparently we won't do that. So however, the IFC doc, that's IFC 3161, does not say or state anything about when a certificate, I mean a timestamp certificate is expired. It only says that it should be set to a long valid time, and its validity is somehow controlled by the revocation status. So that means we found some interesting TSA the timestamp authorities. Some of the certificates of the timestamping authority are actually have very short validity time, and they are even shorter than the signing certificate, like months. It's not years. And so by theory, we should not trust the timestamp certificate if it is expired. However, in the common practice, the existing tools, like the signing tool, we still trust the expired timestamp certificate. However, as you know, there are different trust model, so that's why we have a flag here to let the user to choose one of them. But for security, by default, is the expiry is relaxed is set to false.
I mean, yes, like I agree that it's different from RFC, and current world situation is different from the RFC. But do we really want this parameter? Because right now, our specification doesn't talks about expiry, right? We don't check for certificate expiry, or do we check for timestamp certificate expiry in our specification right now?
We do check the expiry
Okay.
for the timestamp certificate because it's a certificate, so we check it.
I mean, yes, that's an interesting problem. I found a similar thread in CAP forum for this. Apparently, around 2 years back, the similar discussion came up in CAP forum. Can we get Ian's input on this? Because he was involved in that discussion. I just shared the CAP forum thread on this. Actually, it's the same topic as you are talking about. So right now, it says they in the thread they're advocating about reducing the timestamp certificate expiry from 135 months or somewhere on like more than 10 years to 15 months. Yeah, can you get his input on that? Ian's input on this, since he was already involved in that conversation. Scroll down. Yes, this is the conversation. Timestamp certificate validity period. Like I would like to have one default value instead of giving giving users a configurable option here. Yes, we can add configuration option later on if we want, but I'm not even sure about default value here.
Yeah, I think we actually we got some comments from Ian, right? The common practice is relax the checking of the timestamping certificate expiry. So as long as the signed certificate, as long as the image is signed before the expiry of signed certificate, no matter the timestamping certificate expires or not, the verification should still be successful. This is the current practice.
So what we can do is instead of adding the field right now, if any of the users request for this, we can add it later on. Because by default, anyway, we are going to put this field as false. True, right? Relaxed is true by default, right? For this.
Currently the default value for this one is false. But we can decide the default value for it.
Like if like what I was saying was if default was true, right now we can completely drop this field and introduce it later when if a user asks for it. in the feature
Yeah,
request.
but currently the default value is false, but we can decide it.
Yes. Do we have a list? Do you have sample TSA which has lower than 11 years? The expiry of the end certificates? Or it's a private CA, private TSA?
E, do you have any clue for that? Or yeah, because I don't have the list.
No. What kind of list Pradesh
So
you expect?
so the public TSA, which is publicly trusted, having and timestamp certificate expiry of less than 11 years or 135 months or something like that.
I think what we are testing is that we have the TSA sign certificate in, I mean, the validity is in months, maybe 6 months or so.
Do we have example of that, any kind of public TSA like that, which has expiry in like or validity of 6 months?
Um, I can check that. I remember Patrick may have a list, but I currently I need time to find that. Maybe we can, for example, check the uh digital cert, right? I remember.
I think we can check it offline. Yeah, not on this meeting.
Yeah, I think so. We did several testing towards different TSA. We can provide data to you, Pritesh. So
Thank you.
yeah, so we only have 2 minutes. So let me finish the comments. I think it is important. One comment from Pritesh is that this is also from Pritesh. Not having any trust door of type TSA means that verifier doesn't trust any TSA. Thus, notation should not evaluate any timestamp signature. So this is common. And I think this one is if we will introduce timestamp verification parameter, then pretest has I think it's a good suggestion is that if user does not configure any TSA, that means the level should be skipped. So this comment is I think is only valid when we are going to introduce this parameter. If not, this yeah, we don't have the. I mean, if this parameter will not be introduced, then we don't need to talk about this. Okay, this is another one. Let me copy it from comments. It's also Pradesh. Okay. Is there anything I'm missing? So basically, in this meeting, we mainly talk about the authentic timestamping, right? And authentic timestamp this level, whether we can use this level for control the timestamping verification, and also we discussed whether the skipped level should be used, and this we need to follow up with meaning and probably need to discuss it next week. And we also talked about the timestamp verification parameter, and Pradesh has a suggestion, and then we talk about the expiry checking, right? So this one, as Sui suggests, that we can discuss the default value for it later.
Yes, the thing is, like, if we have default as true, then I would suggest let's drop this field unless someone explicitly requests us to add it. Because I cannot think of a common world use case where someone will want to enforce this.
So, Pritish, are you suggesting that we can make the default value of expiry length to be true?
Yes.
Okay, we can also record that because
Yes.
it's
So I'm just run it by Ian first, because when I was going through that conversation, there were multiple opinions. So I want to understand what's the CAP forum current opinion on this.
yeah. Because we have done some tests, and also we have searched for the internet. So from the Stack Overflow, it seems that after Windows 7, so the behavior is the same as the values that to be true. But before Windows 7, it's like false.
Okay.
But yeah, so basically it's a common practice for more than a decade.
I mean, which makes sense because you don't want to create a certificate and then manage it for 11 years. Because if you lose that certificate, then basically everything, like, you'll have to secure the certificate for 11 years, even if after, yeah, that becomes a like key management problem.
Yeah, let me just, because we are already out of time, let me just comment it. The current practice is is not dated. Maybe I should put this one in this one. Is it clear?
It's just clear to me.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we will continue the discussion next week. So maybe Pradesh, during this in this week, maybe you can also help to ask Minnie's comments on the skip level for the authentic timestamp.
We'll do that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thanks everyone. Sorry
Thank you.
for 6 minutes overtime.
Thank you. It was a good discussion.
Hey,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Bye.
It was a great discussion. Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Yeah,
thanks,
thank you.
Abby.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.